Was that me? You talking about me?
No, I'm talking about
Oh.
Nico. All right, sorry guys. Hey, here we are. Friday, Monday, Wednesday, week 2 of the new year. Program design review. We're going to be talking about a hurricane complex. We got Jeremy, the program designer here. Jeremy said I run through this, and then he's going to give you some added tips talking about the timing. Corning is used to handling big sessions, so he's even going to comment today about how they run things to handle big sessions, because hopefully all of you are going to experience bigger than usual sessions here in your new year. So as a reminder, the green highlights are places where you might want to start. We sometimes highlight things in orange because it may be an exercise consideration, it may be an equipment consideration. We suggested warm up at the top. We could have suggested word of the day at the bottom. Jeremy and I talked about that yesterday, so he's got an idea for the word of the day too that he'll share. But yeah, let's get started. So energy lineups are great in the new year. Like, it's good to introduce new people to veteran people. So I would encourage you to make sure that when your group gets partnered up, say, hey, partner up with somebody you don't even know, right? And then that way they can, encourage each other and all that kind of stuff. So what we'll do here is we're going to go left to right. And remember, these yellow highlights are to give you a purpose at each station, right? Our goal with these program design reviews is just for you to know you already get the exercises with some good coaching cues. Now you got to know, what are you going to do as a coach as you travel the floor? Okay, so if we're looking at a dumbbell front squat to an overhead press, one of the greatest things that you can do is straighten out somebody's squat, right? And what's the number one way to straighten it out? Elevate the heels. Then we have power band skiers. 'Tis the season. Jeremy and I were talking about this yesterday. It's ski season, right? With that, you're going to challenge the pace.
And by the way,
we're going to do, so you got the challenge and the pace, then you have kettlebell walking swings. You can teach the movement. Another great exercise, remember, in red might be what you say to introduce something or a song you might play. So walk it out. Could be a good song with a walking kettlebell swing. I'll throw that in there now as we go through. Plyo, squat thrust to a step over. So I think that's a newer exercise. I don't know if we've done that one before, but that's all about pace, right? You can take your squat thrust all the way to the ground as they show in the video, and then you're going over the box. TRX alternating row to a fly. Okay, so that's where you're actually rowing and doing the rear delt fly at the same time. And so why do I have green highlights on the kettlebell swing? Why do I have green highlight on the row and the fly? Because those are awkward things to do, right? So at both of those, the instruction is go teach the movement, right? So for the kettlebell swing, you might teach somebody swing, step, feet back apart, and then over there, you want to get them used to having one arm straight while the other arm's rowing. So be there, be present as a coach to teach those movements. Now we're going through the second circuit, the dumbbell powered lunge. I was actually doing a DECA workout this morning, and I improvised with that workout to have a weight in my hand for this power lunge. So another way that you can kind of get used to lunging with weight for the DECA if you're training for that. It's a great exercise, great movement, but it's new. Teach the movement. It's highlighted green, right? Because you got to get used to which leg is up when the dumbbell's up and that kind of stuff. Power band tricep kickbacks, upper arms glued, right? You want it to be all about that lower arm moving. You can even teach them to twist. I could add that in. I always like to say, hey, what's better than serotonin? Tricep tonin, right? Give them some journey lingo, right? And so if you teach that twist, that's a palm twisting at the top towards the ceiling, just gives them that extra little emphasis. Kettlebell server carries. Jeremy will touch on this a little bit. He was talking about it yesterday, but my thing is always like, hey, table 3 needs you over there. Let's hustle that muscle, right? So like having fun with it, getting people moving around the room. There's a lot of things that we could say about that. The plyo crossover step up. Okay. So with all crossovers, with all lunges, with all squats, we're focusing on the torso upright. And if somebody can't do the crossover step up and keep their torso upright, they might be on the wrong size box. So adjust that size box. And then the TRX jump squat, you could have manual resistance on the shoulders, right? They're trying to jump, you give them a little resistance. So you got to know your audience, know who's receptive to that. You can play a little Van Halen jump, House of Pain, jump around, as you demo that kind of stuff. Now, we won't go through the same exercises twice unless I have an additional comment for it. This power band alternating lunge chest press. I like to sometimes, even with this one, it's a little bit of an improvising where if you have to improvise at your location, you always have to ask yourself, what does a program designer want out of this? And so they want a lunge or split squat type of movement and, a press. So I've even sometimes had people, I'm over there with the mitt and I'll get them like, kind of staying in position. They'll drop the knee, I'll swing the mitt, they'll come back, they'll do either the double press or the alternating press. So if you do something like that, of course, you can have a little fun with your demo, a little eye of the tiger or whatever. Then now you're back to the shoulder, shoulder to ear for the kettlebell server carry. That's just a coaching cue that was already in the video. Then you're back to the crossover. You can challenge the height of the box if their torso is right. And then the TRX alternating fallout. That's a bit of a Superman exercise, right? You're alternating, one hand stays in, one goes out. So you could even play. We have those Superman sound effects. Then for your finisher, it's a hurricane. Hurricanes are 25 seconds on, 5 seconds off, 3 times through. We got squat jumps and plank jacks and ski hops. So, I always just like to, wherever possible, make the music appropriate. So if you got a little jump, let's get this thing jumping, right? You can have that. You can turn your lights down, turn your fun lights up. Word of the day. I'm going to have 2, and Jeremy will talk a little bit about that, just how we can emphasize it in the new year. But the one for Friday, Monday, Wednesday is you don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great. It's good to remind people that are just starting on their journey in the new year. You're not expected to be great. You might get sick during your first workout. That's okay, right? It's just about getting started, and eventually you will be great if you stick with it. There is a 6th station for those that need to add it. All right, so we got the laying leg raise there. We have the 5 count sprint to a step over. That's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then reaching for the ground. And then your 3-way push up to the left, to the middle, to the right. Sounds like
that definitely doesn't say sprint though, so we gotta.
What's that?
Fix that typo. It doesn't say sprint, it says Sprite or some. So
oh, I can fix it on my sheet. Have a Sprite.
Yeah.
All right, Jeremy, go ahead and add whatever you'd like to add. You can start right out with the timing and the overall layout, or wherever you want to start.
Yeah, so complex hurricane, I know, like, prior to we first brought this format on, I know some locations, like, it will kind of be mixed match. So like now the goal of it is that you see every top exercise and be a bilateral movement, and the 2 that are below are going to be unilateral. So how we usually run it here, I know a lot of people use the first round, the first top 5 exercises as a circuit, and then they superset the bottom 2, which is absolutely fine too. But how we usually do this is use this as its own circuit. So especially like now when we have overcrowded classes, we usually go to a complex style, whether it's a complex Phoenix or Hurricane. And because it helps members stay in one spot, they get to use their equipment for those 3 sets. Without having to go around the room and find what their equipment is in a big session. They just stay in that one spot. And then once you're done with that, then you get 30 to 40 seconds to go to the next area in the room. So how you have it written out here, like if station 1 is dumbbells, station 2 is power bands, station 3 is kettlebells, station 4 is tile boxes, and you have your TRX, station 5. They'll work at the dumbbell station as its own little circuit. So they'll hit those 3 exercises 3 times each, and then you have 40 seconds to go to the next station. So you'll do and to sort in the demonstration time, because that was like the biggest thing, right? You get to warm up and you go to demonstration. It's like the complex. There's so many exercises. It takes forever to demonstrate them. So people that are sitting around, I would encourage active recovery so that people can jog in place, just keep their feet moving while you're demonstrating. So, and also with that being said, I try to do more unilateral work so you're not demonstrating 3 exercises in that one spot. So for example, I might be here, all right, so when we got our dumbbell front squat with overhead press. So on this one, you're gonna hold the dumbbells upright, get that front load, you're gonna squat down, when your heels come up, by here, get that press. Any issues with the press, avoid the press, with a bicep curl. Issue with your squat, elevate your heels onto the beam. It's going to take pressure off your hips, knees, and ankles. Have you get deeper in that range of motion, you squat down. That's exercise 1. Exercise 2 and 3 are the same movement. It's going to switch up sides. We have our power lunge. So, and then I'll discuss that power lunge, and I'll say that's exercise B and C, or exercise 2 and 3. Now I'll go on to station number 2, and then I'll pass it on to whoever the co-coach is in that session. Now, if you're by yourself, then you just, hustle it up to station number 2. so with that being unilateral stuff, you don't have to actually discuss that third exercise. You're gonna say, hey, we got A, B, or B, C are gonna be the same movement, just switch sides. So you're only talking about 2 exercises in that complex. And relatively, like, it goes fast. And people love it. Honestly, like, I never hear anything bad. Actually, I hear like the complex and the superset AMRAPs are their favorite because once they get going, it's nonstop. So you're nonstop. So that's like I hit on that. So I noticed, like, again, so you start getting bigger classes and you see people getting frustrated because they can't, when they come back to their spot, their mat's taken, the weights are moved. This is great because for a station like this, if you're doing 30 pounds with the squat and the overhead press, you most likely keep that 130-pound dumbbell and just go right to your power load just with it. So you're not even moving weight or changing weight out within that time. So then you have 40 seconds to spray it down, up and down, grab some water, and then rotate to the next spot in the room. Same with the power bands. So you go there, you're going to stay at that same power band for those 9 sets. So you're not switching up, you're not coming back. And then somebody's at your power band, they got there faster than you did. So you're just staying there as a good way to really focus. And again, kind of keep stuff organized and clean with the complex style. So if people aren't doing it that way, it's absolutely fine if you're not. Like, you can still do the circuit and just do superset. But I would highly recommend for oversized classes. It works well, really works well. You can fit, in our locations, we have 7 ropes and 7 TRX straps. You can fit 7 to a station and not have to worry about it because they all can stay in that one spot. So that's pretty much for that part of it. Yeah, and on some fun note, I know, or even with like the crossovers, right? It doesn't hurt to be an extra touch. Like on this, I'm gonna coach it this week with just your body weight. But for those Jedi's, it doesn't hurt if you got like an extra fit fighter hose laying around or something that it's easy to provide to them for extra weight to add their weight to them. Again, it's very important to make sure their form's good. Like if they are, like Travis said, are in a higher box, and you need over the first place thing is the coaching to go to a lower box, not put load on somebody that already has that form with that movement. So again, coach the lower box. Notice if there's any dysfunctions, and then if you have a Jedi that you want to progress, if you have fit fighters, you have extra dumbbells, kettlebells later around, put it in that hand. It doesn't have to be every client because every client's not going to want it, but you'll know the ones that do want it. So that's a good way to touch on that. With a server carry, after listening to Great Cook, and I think he's huge to implement into any program lesson, right? When I talk about mobility and stability work. So you're going to see more mobility and stability work in our exercises. We always do them, but I want to put a more of an emphasis on these movements because it will help you as a coach notice any dysfunction, right? If you see people like doing a scapular, well, like we did a Superman pull as you're in that Superman, that prone position, you'll notice like if people coming up, if they're lacking natural mobility. So at that point, you can either give them homework or just say like, hey, you need this more often. So when you come here, if you get here early, you can sit down and have them go through those movements to help them, increase their sort of mobility, whatever that might be. So with a server carry, we're talking about stability. With any carry we do, it's just a walking plank, and Dan John stresses that, like, any carry we do is a walking plank. So it's all about core engagement. So staying upright, brace your core. I always say, like, press your belly button to your spine. Focus. Imagine like a plank. You're always pushing that belly button to your spine to keep that core locked in, right? So stay tall and strong, core locked in. With this, the server carry, I always demonstrate and mention, work with your non-dominant arm first and stay consistent with that. So whatever you carry in your non-dominant hand, do it in the right hand. We know most likely your dominant hand's gonna be stronger, but you don't want to create any imbalances. So if you're going around carrying an 80-pound weight overhead with your right hand, and then you go with a 50 in your left hand, you're not doing yourself any justice. Just keep yourself in alignment and don't create any imbalances. This isn't really an exercise about strength. Again, it's a good stability, shorter stability work by having the biceps to the air, and again, a dynamic moving core exercise. So again, just stay consistent on both sides. Coach them up, they work with their non-dominant side first, and then just use that same weight on the opposite arm. So with that, besides that, really is everything else with TRX jump squats. Any jump we do, long jump, box jumps, right? The focus is the landing, right? The landing, right? People that come down, usually you get injured on the landing, or like when we do a sprint, is deceleration. You don't want to just run super fast and just keep running. You want to be able to decelerate, slow down, and then come back out. So whenever I talk about any type of jumping, hopping, land soft, land soft. I would say land on clouds or land on pillows, not on concrete. So all those oxymoron, we're actually jumping on concrete, but make sure like you're landing on clouds. So when you add that jump, you should not hear your feet contact that floor. Now, if you are hearing that, you probably should not have a lower in the first place. You should be jumping with a vert ball or something in your hand. You should be just trying to focus on, maybe not such a long jump, but really focus on as you jump, landing softly, so you're not adding extra pressure to your ankles, knees, or your hips. So that's like the big proponent for the complex in this Friday, Monday, Wednesday workout. And again, get oversized class. I would decrease the time to 25 and go to 20, because you'll see that will work better in a 45 to 50-minute class than trying to do 25 seconds for 6 stations.
And I'll just, first of all, Jeremy, really good stuff, really good stuff. I'm going to recommend to the Sarah location. We do all 3 exercises 3 times through, no equipment issues. That's really good. When we had smaller groups, maybe there's a reason why we might enjoy it the other way, but as we head into the new year and really try to grow, seems like that'd be really effective. Love the engagement that goes on in Corning. They recognize a lack of shoulder mobility. There's like, hey, let us get some extra time with you before or after a session. I mean, you really just earned that person's business for a lot longer because you did that. And then love the coaching of the landing. It's not just about the jump. It's more about the landing, right? Don't land on your joints, land soft, good stuff. And finally, Jeremy, you were saying we could add the word of the day to the Cloud Fit?
Yeah, so I have to look at that. And if anything, it'll probably be, well, I already sent Cloud Fit out for this week. I'll probably start next week, which my goal would be after, because you have like that 14-minute time before the class starts. You actually need less than that, 114 minutes. But I'm thinking like have that go for whatever 10 minutes before. But then before the class starts, before it goes into the demonstrations of like what's to come up, have like a word or a phrase or a quote of the day on the screen. So rather every program design meeting we discuss that on what that is, so it's something different. I love everyone's input. It could be even put into the lags or a quick discussion on our Monday meetings of what that might be, and then we'll just add that. And then before the warm-up starts, we'll just say, we'll quickly mention whatever that is. Like, today I want the focus to be on overcoming. I know we're all struggling. I know a lot of people are sore. Their bodies are inflamed because they ate like crap over the holiday season. So they feel sluggish and sore more than usual. This overcome this week is going to get better as you keep going, right? Drink some water, flush your system out, do something like that. All right, let's get downstairs warm to get their warm started. So this is something that like kind of add more community, more of like just a message, to the class, the session before it starts. So I'd like to have that going in our future confits.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you so much. That was some really good stuff. Really good. All right, guys, that's the Friday, Monday, Wednesday. We will record Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday separately because some of you may only be coaching on these days. So